humans have only a few basic needs which must be met in order to be healthy. The people who have devoted to figuring out this question have done studies and published tomes concluding for now the 5 essential most basic things we must have are: social like family and friends, mental challenge like school, physiological sustenance including good food, spiritual or coping strategies like belief in some higher power, and home security or shelter from the elements. Shelter is the most important one because without it none of the others are possible, at least not in any meaningful way. When I was homeless for 3 years I became fully aware of just how important home security really is. Attempting to pursue relationships while straining to figure out where you'll sleep or even keep your toothbrush does not jive with reality. Saying relationships or housing is the most important is not actually quite realistic. These needs are more of a tapestry. We need to weave them all together. Food isn't just food. If you only eat what the charities are willing or able to provide, you will be malnourished. Wealthy people generally do not eat what poor people eat. Wealthy people generally do not eat what poor people eat. The truth is basic state-sanctioned foods are not adequate for a healthy life, they provide only survival. But that is another topic. We as a species have not reconsidered our housing needs for a long time. The Industrial Revolution kind of nursed us to where we are now. We knew at the time many of these resources were non-renewable, but that was not our problem. It was an issue for future generations to work out. We are those future generations. The problems of global climate shift and resource depletion, the issue of overpopulation is all too real and staring us in the face. Fringe members of our peoples have been seeking solutions for some time now. Buckminster Fuller, born in 1895, was an architect who championed housing issues and brought them to light. You can't talk about this issue without mentioning Henry David Thoreau, who was born in 1817 and built a tiny shack to live in on land that he himself cultivated. Mike Reynolds began building what he called earthships in the early 1970s using principles of sustainable architecture which have since become the standard. Principles such as passive solar and thermal heating and cooling, reusing wastewater and harvesting rainwater. We all need to rethink what housing is for us. This last winter my partner and I spent a month living in an old converted camper van and we absolutely loved it. Our front yard was whatever we wanted any given day. Now with the information age upon us, we are no longer tied to the 9-to-5 cubicle or factory work. Many of us can make a living through the virtual cyber network of wires and tubes. Since I was a child I have always been building shelters. Currently my partner and I are living in the Sonoran Desert in furthermost southern Arizona, where it is hot and very dry. We are converting a shipping container into housing and building our own adobe bricks. By next year we could be almost entirely off-grid. Now for a word from our sponsor Henry David Thoreau. However mean your life is, meet it and live it, do not shun it and call it hard names. It is not so bad as you are. It looks poorest when you are richest. The fault finder will find faults even in paradise. Love your life, poor as it is. You may perhaps have some pleasant, thrilling, glorious hours, even in a poorhouse. The setting sun is reflected from the windows of the almshouse as brightly as from the rich man's abode. The snow melts before its door as early in the spring. I do not see but a quiet mind may live as contentedly there, and have as cheering thoughts, as in a palace, as in a palace, as in a palace, as in a palace, as in a palace,
as in a palace, as in a palace,
as in a palace, as in a palace, as in a palace, as in a palace, as in a palace.